Nobody has in the history of recorded conversations ever had a conversation about how much do we spend at Easter and why? And also, is it comparative to Christmas? Should it be? Even among church circles, have I ever had a conversation with anybody after church about saving for Easter? No, I have not. It's not happened. Why don't we do it, Pete?
No, I mean, I guess do we not spend as much? Like Christmas is end of the year, people are slowing down, having time off work. Easter traditionally has been more about your Easter bunny. So it's been about chocolate, it's been about couple of days off. It probably hasn't had the big holiday vibe that Christmas has. That's the only thing I could think of.
I reckon it should be less about the bunny, more about the money.
Ooh.
Yeah. Because like we discussed on a previous episode of this season where we talked about what we worship and whether what we buy reflects what we're devoted to. Go and check out that Do We Worship Our Sneakers and Other Stuff episode. Along the same line, if we are down with Easter, if we love what it represents about what Jesus did for us on the cross and rising again, if that is true, Pete, then shouldn't I sink more money into the things of Easter to celebrate?
Okay, so you buy more eggs, buy more chocolate. What are you doing to spend more money on Easter? How are you?
Well, last couple of years at our place, we've been trying to have a big lunch similar to, if not bigger than Christmas. We haven't quite got there yet. We've been trying to get more family around and have this big spread that at the moment it's tracking along kind of similar in terms of expenditure, let alone the amount that you eat, let alone the amount that's left over afterwards. But that's one way of indicating to ourselves, but also to others, that we see Easter on a similar pegging with Christmas.
So it's as important.
Not so much the Easter eggs, but that's one of the issues, I think, the challenges with Easter and how much you spend on Easter is we don't give the sort of gifts that you do at Christmas which is would that be the biggest expenditure at Christmas, the gifts?
I think generally, I mean, people's food budgets could vary, but generally, depending on how many people they're buying for, people do generally lash out at Christmas and buy some, they spend a decent amount of money on presents. So yes, I would say that's the highest component.
Saying that, have you met someone who has Easter as a line item in their budget?
I have not, no. Maybe the Easter Bunny does. Maybe he's got costs and things he's got to consider, but I have not met any human real people yet that have Easter as a line item. The only line item I would say for Easter is often it coincides with school holidays and good weather and being a long weekend. Possibly people go away, so accommodation. I do see people spending money going away on holidays, and that could be part of this. Maybe a little bit of a loss of identity for Easter is we are associating it with holidays in Australia. And I don't know if that's part of the mixed messaging, and maybe that's why the spending on Easter has been swamped in what we spend to go away.
I'm glad you started raising that because I was about to run down the rabbit hole. When did you meet the Easter Bunny?
Come on.
Yeah, you like what I did
I
there?
did, yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent, yeah.
But back on topic, I think, and I want to run this by you to see what you think, that we should have Easter at least as some sort of element in our budget similar to Christmas, because it is multifactored as well, because there are some gifts, there are usually meals involved, and as you said, particularly here in Australia, I imagine other parts of the world, holidays are massive over Easter. And you're right, I think they have risen to the top rather than Jesus always remaining out front, being the main game at Easter. If all of these things are true, Pete, I'm still a bit flabbergasted that there hasn't been or doesn't seem to be conversations about spending at Easter. It's all focused on Christmas. Oh yeah, it's at the end of the year. I'm going to save for it, etc., etc. And yet it's almost like Easter comes and goes every year. We spend heaps on it, but then
what's left? What's it about?
And have we even bothered to try to work out, should I spend this much? Have I got this much to spend?
And what should I spend it on?
Like, why don't we scrutinize Easter spending more?
I think the gifts part at Christmas, like I said before, there's gifts at Christmas, which I think soaks up people's budgets, and it's just Christmas. It's Christmas Day. It's, it's the day. Easter doesn't quite resonate like that for people, but I think we probably do need that time to like rest and reflect or relax and reflect, whatever way helps us think about it is we've probably got to get better at using that time at Easter, and whether or not it could be spending more money on, like you said, a meal, having people over, or saying, am I traveling to somewhere, or am I trying to catch up with family and maybe investing that money in having an event, going to an event, traveling to people, could be giving money away to a cause. I think there's heaps of ways you could spend money at Easter, but we're probably not doing them.
I was reading how chocolate, you can, especially dark chocolate, that will keep in your cupboard, don't refrigerate it, keep it in your cupboard 100%. For like 2 years, 1
cool
to 2
enough.
years. So
Like dark chocolate.
buy the cheap eggs after like this year's Easter, whack them in the cupboard for a year, boom.
Ooh, I like it. I mean, things like hot cross buns, they start selling after Christmas. That raises, controversy. Tiny minds are blown as soon as that happens every year. So it's probably the same with eggs. You can buy chocolate all throughout the year, people.
But if you'd have to put the hot cross buns into the freezer so they
True
last.
that. Yes, good point.
Do you ever get marked down hot cross buns? I don't know if that's a thing, is it?
Probably when the
They're-
raisins are
they're
becoming
not
more
so-
like
they're not
mold
so
and you
great.
can't tell the difference, but yes.
Go back to saving money on if you want to go big on chocolate, I'd say buy it a year ahead.
Yep.
Although I think apparently the lighter the chocolate gets, the worse it will keep.
Yeah,
I think that's actually
okay.
a thing. Also, speaking of planning out ahead, like we've talked plenty of times on the podcast about budgeting, about stewardship, go back and check out those articles, Money, Faith and Finance, those episodes. But Pete, planning out a year ahead, holidays, for example.
Yep.
So a lot of us can focus on Christmas, but if you get a year ahead on Easter, you also stand to save a lot of coin.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, generally in Australia, the weather's pretty good over Easter. People have a bit of a holiday. It generally does mean accommodation is more expensive than it might be in like winter or sort of an off season. The earlier you book and plan ahead, then I think you'd probably save some money.
Also, do your own decorations and the like, and even making dinners at home. So a lot of us can go out to a restaurant at Easter, at Christmas
Yep.
as well. But doing more at home can be cheaper depending on what it is you're making, but including like decorations and stuff around the house. If you wanted to go big and make Easter like Christmas,
Yep.
you could do a lot more, not just Easter
Easter
bunny,
is the new Christmas. That's what
Easter
I'm hearing.
bunny baskets. But you can make whatever you're going to make. Yes, I think, is Easter the new Christmas? they seem different, but also interrelated.
Yes.
But yes, if you're going to go...
Same main character.
But I am lobbying for it to be big.
Bigger.
And
Bigger
so-
than it possibly currently is.
Yes, but you can do it on the cheaper, especially if you do it yourself. And decorations are one of those ways.
I think so. And I think the other thing is, we've been talking about families and getting families together at Easter. I think it's a good time to think about, we all know people that might be by themselves or single or a bit disconnected. If we've got time off work, this is a great time to bring those people in, bring them into the fold, bring them into your family, invite them to your lunch, invite them to your dinner, try and catch up with them over Easter. Like, it's still a time that is meaningful, whether they may be Christians or not yet Christians, is to actually still have connection with them and maybe think about the people that are outside our little family as well.
All right, Pete. So as we wrap up on what we spend at Easter, show me the money.
Show me the money would be show me the bunny. No. Honey, no.
Ditch the bunny. Come on, forget
Ditch
the bunny.
I think it's show me the heart. It's relax and reflect, not just spend money. So I
So
think,
it's not about the flavor, it's about the savior.
oh, come on. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for telling me that earlier off air. And I was really hoping you were going to say it, and you didn't. So I'm saying it.
But you delivered it very well.
Please continue.
Yeah, no, I think we need to think more about Easter. There is a temptation for it just to be a break, but it's got to be more about the reason.
My show me the money is I can't believe that more of us at least seem not to focus on Easter, how much we spend on it, what that represents about how we value Easter. And I'm also at the same time saying you can go big on Easter, as big as Christmas, if not bigger, but you don't have to spend a lot of money either.
Yep.
That has been, I think, Pete, in the history of everything, the first time that anyone's recorded a conversation about how to spend Easter. You are most welcome. Please share it around with everybody that you know to get the word out there that Easter is, at very least, Pete, equivalent with Christmas, including in your spreadsheet.
Yes.